Hi there, my name's Bruce Rain from Breakers Creations, and in this video I'll be reviewing the Kaiweets HT118E digital multimeter. A few years ago, I reviewed the KM601 Smart Digital Multimeter. If you haven't seen the review, I was really impressed with the KM601, especially given its low price. The other day, I was looking at the Kaiweets website and I saw this, the HT118E multimeter. It caught my eye because it was the same price as the KM601, but a very different style of meter. The KM601 has a great big colour screen and push-button function selection. The HT118E is a far more conventional sort of multimeter with a large rugged case, monochrome LCD display and a click wheel function selector. Unfortunately, the box got a little bit knocked around in transit, but that's fine, that's what boxes are for. And let's have a look inside. Oh, look at that, it's a nice little protective case. And so let's just open it up and have a look inside. Okay, well, a few things. We've got our leads here. We've got a couple of AA batteries, so that suggests to me that this multimeter does run on AA batteries. I'm going to have to get aggressive to get this open. There we go. And that's it there. It's actually, it feels lighter than it looks. With this heavy case, you kind of get this feeling like this is going to be really heavy, but it's actually quite light. But it does have this nice, solid, rugged case. It's sort of a bit of a plasticky, rubbery sort of feel about it. It doesn't feel like really rubbery, but it is softer than like a hard plastic. And we've got a nice little leg for it there, so that's all good. And oh, look at that, really nice feel about that. You can just move it with your thumb, but it's not bumping. That's really nice. So we've got that. We have got a little instruction manual here. There we go. And then we have leads. And these look like nice leads too. We've got nice fine points on them, and then these, I think, come off. Yep, they come off, so you can have the long lead there, where you can have it all sort of protected, so you just got the tip showing through there. And then this will be a lead for the thermometer, so that's a little temperature sensor on the end there. So that's it. So that is what we have in the box. And now we'll have to put it through its paces. Ooh, you ready? Whee! Love doing that. Now I'll take a look at some of the advertised features of the HT118E. It's a true RMS or root mean square used for measuring alternating current accurately. 20,000 counts, non-contact voltage detection, built-in flashlight, minimum and maximum readout, auto ranging and auto power off. It weighs about 350 grams, though it looks heavier than it is. It's quite bulky, so probably best for use in a workshop rather than in a toolkit. It appears quite rugged, and I think it could take a pretty solid knock and come away unscathed. It has holders in the back for the leads and a nice solid stand. The click wheel selector is excellent. It's easy to turn, but it slots into each function really securely. You can easily turn the wheel with one hand, and it doesn't tip the multimeter over when it's on the stand. The functions on the wheel are as follows: AC and DC voltage, AC and DC millivolts, frequency, resistance continuity and diode mode, capacitance, temperature, microamp current, milliamp current, amp current, and non-contact voltage. The leads are nice with a good sharp point on the end. It has a nice big backlit screen with the main readout at the bottom and a smaller secondary readout at the top. This secondary readout will show you the frequency for AC voltage measurements, and it also allows both Fahrenheit and Celsius temperature readouts simultaneously. Pressing the button on the right will activate the backlight. Pressing it again will switch it off. Press and hold down the same button to switch on the built-in flashlight. The Kaiweets KM601 also has a flashlight, and it's actually a really handy thing. I've sometimes found myself in strange dark places measuring voltages, and a light source comes in handy. One of the great features of the Kaiweets HT118E is the illuminated probe terminals. When you rotate the dial to any function, the probe terminals will flash. They indicate which ones you should be using for that function. If I switch to voltage, the two right terminals flash. If I switch to milliamps, the two bottom terminals flash. And if I switch to amps, the top left and bottom right flash. While measuring, you can press the hold button to lock the current reading on screen. Press it again to return to normal function. Press the max-min button to display either the maximum or minimum reading on screen. Press and hold down the max-min button to return to normal function. When you turn the dial to the resistance, continuity and diode mode, the multimeter will default to resistance measurement. Press the function button once to switch to continuity mode. Press it again to switch to diode mode. Press it again to return to resistance mode. When measuring voltage, it will default to DC. Press the function button to toggle to AC mode. The HT118E is auto-ranging, which means it will automatically select the correct range to achieve the most accurate measurement. Most multimeters these days are auto-ranging, but this is an example of an older multimeter with manual range selection. Let's say I was wanting to measure a 1.5 volt battery. I'd select the range that was greater than and closest to the voltage I'm measuring. The Kaiweets HT118E does this for you automatically. I'm comparing the results from the HT118E with my Fluke 115 multimeter. So we're just going to see how close the results are. I am going to start off with DC voltage and hit it with 1 volt to start off with. We can see we've got pretty much the identical result between the two there. We're actually getting a little bit more from the Kaiweets because it actually measures 1 extra digit on the end there. Let's take this up to 3 volts. We are pretty much the same there between those two as well. Very, very slight fluctuation there. And let's take it up to 9 volts. And once again, we're seeing virtually identical results from those two. Very, very minor difference between them. And let's take this one up as far as this power supply can go, which is 32 volts. And we can see, once again, the results are virtually identical between the two. Very, very little difference there. Thought I'd take this opportunity to mention the auto ranging that I talked about earlier. And you can actually see which range it is using via this little scale on the bottom. If I take this down now to, let's bring it down to 14 volts. And I will take that up to 15, 16, 17, you can see it on the scale at the bottom, and so once we get to the 20 mark, it will then change to a new scale, and that's, you can see that scale happening on the bottom there. Next up, I am going to measure AC voltage. So for a Fluke, I'll just flick it over to there. For here, I'm going to press the function button, or change from DC to AC. Okay, so the Fluke is reading around about the 236 volt mark. So this is AC voltage from mains power here. Now we will try the Kaiweets. Now this, one of the things we are of course seeing is we are seeing the frequency as well, 50 Hertz, and we are hovering around about the 236, 237 mark, which is pretty close to what the fluke was reading. And one thing you may have noticed is that the backlight here is showing in red. And that's a really great feature of this multimeter. When it detects dangerous voltage, this backlight will actually automatically come up in red as a warning to let you know that the voltage you're dealing with is dangerous. And I actually think that is a really, really nifty feature of this multimeter. Now I'm going to try some resistance measurements. So we'll put this across into resistance there. This one onto resistance there. Put this resistor on there. First of all, test it with the fluke, and we are getting 22.4-ish ohms. This is a 22 ohm resistor, so that's about what I would expect. And then with the Kaiweets, 22.2, 22.3, 22.2. So again, pretty close. The next one. There we go, 1.2, this is a 1.2 kilo ohm resistor, and we're getting around about 1.198 to 1.2, so yep. And then for the Kaiweets, whoops. Here we go, 1.1968. There we go, very, very close to 1.2, and obviously very close to the reading from the fluke as well. And one more. Okay, this is a 1 mega ohm, and it's coming virtually on the dot of 1 there on the fluke. And for the Kaiweets, virtually on the money there as well. Just getting an extra digit on the end of that one, but it's pretty much the same reading. So when it comes to resistance, those two are pretty much the same. Now for capacitance test, I have got a little 47 ohm capacitor here, and we'll try it with the fluke first. And it's reading 50.4 microfarad. Kaiweets. There we go. 4950.03, pretty darn close there in terms of the reading there of that 47 microfarad capacitor. All right, let's try 470 microfarad. We've got 496, 505, 495. It's flicking backwards and forwards there between 495 and 505, so we might have to just split the difference on that one. And okay, that's in millifarads, so that is basically 491, 492 thereabouts, 492 microfarads, so it's 0.492 millifarads. Then we've got a 4700 microfarad. And we're getting 4829, 4804, 4754. And going down. There we go, 4750. Millifarads again, so that's 4648, 4657, 4658. This one's going up, the other one was going down. Okay, so around about
4665 microfarads. Right, now I'm going to go into continuity mode. Now, when I am testing continuity, one of the things I will often have to do is I have to take a board like this, and maybe I don't have a schematic for it, so I might have to sort of reverse engineer to try and find out what goes where. So I might be, say, for example, I don't know, trying to find where ground is. So I can put a lead here onto ground, and then I can get the other probe and I'll run it down the side of this chip here. And every time I hear a bip, I know it's going to ground. And the whole thing is you need it to respond really, really quickly for this, because you might just be scanning along the side here very, very fast. So the speed that it actually responds with the beep is the really important thing for me. So let's now check and see how the continuity goes with the HT118E. So I'm just going to change into continuity mode with one press is there. We've gone from resistance to continuity, and I'll do the same as I did before. I'm going to put one probe on ground, and then I'm just going to run this up the side. And as you can see, it responds very quickly. Makes it very easy to then find out where the grounds are going to on this particular IC. Now, another thing you will notice that when I get continuity, not only am I getting a nice loud beep, it is a very loud beep, we've also got this little green light illuminating here. And that is really, really handy for two reasons. One, you might be in a situation where you're working somewhere that's very, very loud and you just can't hear the beep. But another is for people who might be hard of hearing and they don't, a beep is of no use to them whatsoever. And so having a little visual indicator as well as an audio indicator for continuity for me is a fantastic feature. And of course, this is something that my Fluke does not have. So that's a really good thing to have. For this next test, I'm going to check out the thermometer. Now, I can't actually check it against the Fluke because the Fluke doesn't have a thermometer, but I can check and see how responsive it is. So I'm going to change it across to the temperature reading. We can see we've got Celsius at the top here, Fahrenheit at the bottom, and it's showing me to attach my temperature probe to these terminals here. So there's my temperature probe, and I will dip this into some icy cold water, and we are getting about 2-3 degrees Celsius there, and then pop it into some hot water, and we're getting about 47 degrees there. And then straight back into the cold, and you can see it really, really quickly comes down to the temperature of the cold water, and then back up to the temperature of the hot water. So that is pretty impressive in terms of how responsive that thermometer is. Right, so the next test is NCV, or non-contact voltage. I'm going to flick that around there. I know it looks like NCU, but it's NCV. And I have got my little probe at the end here. I've got a power cable here with live power in it. And I'm just going to bring this close, and as you can see, it's H for high, and it's glowing red, means that is dangerous voltage it has detected. If it finds voltage that is not dangerous, it will glow green and have an L for low. So that is actually definitely doing its job there, finding the dangerous voltage in that cable there. This is actually like a really handy tool to check and see if PowerPoints are live. You can just put this in front of the PowerPoint and it will glow red if it's live. The next thing I want to test is the auto power off. If I switch this on, you will see a little icon there, and that icon is indicating that it will auto power off. Now, if you want to disable that temporarily, you can. You switch the multimeter off, hold down the function key when you switch it on. And when it switches on, you'll see that that little icon is not there. And so if you leave it like this, it will stay on until you either switch it off or until the batteries run out. But I want to test the auto power off, so I'm going to switch it on. I'll pop it into resistance mode, and I am just going to now leave this, and we'll see how long until it auto powers off.
Five beeps with a 1-minute warning, and then one beep and it switches off at 15 minutes.
In summary, I would have to say this is a fabulous multimeter. It's a little bulky, but it's inexpensive, accurate, and is packed with really useful features like the dual colour backlight, the probe terminal indicators, the flashlight, and the non-contact voltage detector. For me, the standouts are the illuminated continuity indicator, the silky smooth click wheel, the large display readout, audible indicator of auto power off, and the sturdy stand. Oh, and I just love that it uses AA batteries. Lots of multimeters use 9-volt batteries, but AA's are so much easier. There really is only one criticism I have, and it's real nitpicking. Because the resistance, continuity, and diode are all in the same click wheel selection, the different modes have to be selected by pressing the function key. I often find myself doing really long stints of continuity checks, and if the multimeter automatically powers off while doing so, when I power it on again, it reverts back to the resistance mode, and I have to press the function button to take it back to continuity mode. But let's face it, as far as complaints go, it doesn't get much more minor than that. I'd like to thank Kaiweets for sending me this multimeter to review. I received it for free, but I haven't been paid for my opinions, which are always open and honest. If you're interested in buying a Kaiweets HT118E multimeter, there is a link in the description along with the discount code. Thanks for watching.